Today, I had the opportunity and honestly the pleasure of interviewing Nicole Brown Simpson's three sisters. Lifetime is coming out with a documentary about Nicole Brown Simpson, June 1st and 2nd at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard. But this documentary works to humanize Nicole. I'm going to play the interview in just a second, and they share a lot of beautiful memories that they have with Nicole, but most of all, how we as a community can start to support victims around us. It is our responsibility to believe victims the first time. Rest in peace, Nicole Brown Simpson. The docuseries is so good at pushing a real message of the media did not humanize this human being. And there are probably a million questions you guys have already answered that I find to be just like redundant at this point. I want to know, what's your favorite memory with Nicole Brown Simpson? Do you have, like, for me, singing karaoke with my sister is like a favorite of mine, you know? And I'm better than her, if you're wondering. Yes.
Yeah, and that's something I wouldn't even do.
Me neither. I definitely have one. It was my 12th birthday, and she had this 924 Porsche, and I'm 12, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh, here we're gonna go on this excursion. So we started at our Monarch Bay home. Excuse me, we started off at our Monarch Bay home, and we hit Disneyland, Knott's Berry Farm,
Oh,
Hearst Castle, and we went all the way up to San Francisco. I don't know if we spent the night anywhere. I can't remember, but I know that we were like the final destination was going to be at their condo in San Francisco. And I remember going there. I remember we were at Knott's Berry Farm, and Knott's Berry Farm had these in California. They have these parachutes.
oh my gosh.
When they came down, Nicole didn't have her shirt tucked. It was like, oh my gosh, it was like a big parachute. We had two parachutes. And
Yeah.
and then we went to Hearst Castle. And then when we got to the condo, she goes, Tanya, there's a present for you in your bedroom. And I said, okay, yay, what is this? And it was an Izod box, and inside was an Izod sweater, like a cardigan, with two crayons connected to the collar. And I was so excited about those two little, I'm 12. I was so like excited about my two little barrettes. And yeah, and then I went to my very first, pro football game, and I'll never forget that. And it was just a great, I mean, I'm 12 years old. I didn't know anything about her abuse. I didn't know anything really until I was in the court. But I just remember sitting not on the sideline, but we were close. And I just remember going, hi, Uncle OJ, hi, Uncle OJ. But it was just like spending that time with my sister I mean, that was a fun road trip.
That's a 12-year-old dream.
It was, I know. And I think it's like, here I have like this really pretty sister. And,
She's
it's like,
cool. She's older. She's cool.
Right. Yeah. All of my sisters are older and they're all cool, but
yes.
being 12 is a different ballgame, right?
I have got so many memories because we grew up in Germany together. And so I've got memories of running around the backyard in Germany. We lived just outside of Frankfurt. And so I've got lots of memories there, being in the garden, always being outside with our grandfather, working in the garden, playing in a sandbox, picking the berries because there was fruit, and eating the berries right off the vines, Then, moving to California and not speaking a word of English, either one of us. So we only spoke German. So we had our own little secret language, So when we didn't like something, that was our secret, I mean, we would talk about those people in German.
You would gossip.
We would be gossiping in German, and nobody could understand us. So that was our little thing that we always had. And then when we grew up, we had horses, and riding horses and going on the trails and doing things like that. And it was just wonderful, and spending time. Actually, we spent more time at home than we did going out to other people's houses, because our house was just like an acre of backyard. We had a swimming pool, we had a tennis court, we had a fish pond that people thought was a swimming pool. They feed our fish, a basketball court inside the tennis court. And I mean, we really had a great upbringing. And my dad provided really, really great for us, and so did my mom. And so anyhow, all of our friends would always come over to the house, and we'd be in the swimming pool. We had a high dive, a low dive. We'd be diving off. But we had a really great upbringing and a great childhood. And there's just so many memories.
Our house was always that house. My
was
friend
always-
Tori, today's her birthday, and she's like, Tanya, oh my God, I just remember like after football games, we would go and just like hang out at your house. Like with mom and dad, we would rather hang out at
Yeah, my mom and daddy were the cool parents. But
They were.
everybody wanted to come and
really
hang out
were
at our
good
house.
parents.
You guys always had community around you.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
my mom is the one who called, who I need to speak to a parent. I'm like, well, sick. I'm not going to get to kiss a boy. Hope you're happy.
Well, now that Denise is talking about, I remember when Nicole was probably 17, or maybe she'd already been with OJ at 18, but she was just blonde and beautiful, and she was my older sisters, and I always wanted to emulate them. And we were in a restaurant at South Coast Plaza, and some German women were sitting there because Denise was talking about the secret language. A couple of German women were sitting there, and they were talking about her, and they were dogging on her and everything like that. And she just held her composure. When we got up, she said something in German back to them that was very friendly, and they were just white. They were just aghast. But I really loved the
awesome.
holidays. They were just super special growing up. Our mom made them really special, and Nicole kept that tradition. And then Nicole and I were pregnant together.
Oh,
Yeah, we were pregnant together. My son Aaron and her son Justin, and they were born exactly 3 months to the day apart. So we had all that time being on the beach, being fat and pregnant in bikini, and we got to raise our kids on the beach.
that is
It was
incredible.
wonderful.
Did I know my mom when she talks about, like, I mean, I was raised on like Carole King Tapestry, like that era of
Sure.
time. And I remember my mom talking a lot about David Cassidy growing up. Did Nicole have
Oh,
like a
dude.
teen crush? Oh, the hair. I
Bobby
still love good hair.
Sherman.
He's German?
Bobby Sherman.
Bobby Sherman.
Bobby Sherman. Oh, Bobby Sherman. He's German.
Bobby Sherman, and and in the later years, it was the Who. It was Roger Daltrey. She went to a concert, and he broke his tambourine, threw it out into the audience. She got the tambourine, and then she hung it up on the wall in her bedroom. And I remember she got so upset because one day she came home and my grandmother had thrown the tambourine.
Oh my gosh.
It was broken.
Well, we had an old-fashioned German grandparents that didn't
Grandmother.
even speak English to us. So she just figured it was a piece of junk, and she threw it away.
We were in her 450 SL going to the design center in LA. And I kid you not, there's like 3 lanes going this way, 3 lanes going that way. We're like in the 3rd lane. She could have sworn she saw Daltrey. She went from this 3rd lane.
Just because you got a glimpse of someone that
looked like Roger Daltrey.
She could have sworn it was Roger Daltrey. And I'm like, Nick, what are you doing? She's like, that's Roger Daltrey. I'm like, who's Roger Daltrey? Like,
And remember, she used to go to Rod Stewart concerts all the
All the
time.
time. Yeah.
Do you remember like a go-to? Was there like a movie she loved? Was there like a TV show? Like my mom loved all the soap operas. Like I would watch them with her. Like there are certain TV shows that I think about, like, oh, this is my sister, this is my brother, this is my cousin. What was like
90210 and Melrose Place.
and Melrose Place.
Impeccable Jane.
90210 and Melrose Place. We used to call each other.
And they're on commercials, during commercials. Oh my God, can you believe this just happened? Yeah.
She's pregnant. Yeah.
It was 90210 Melrose Place.
And I remember Friday nights because you brought up David Cassidy. I remember Friday nights being the Brady Bunch
and the Partridge Family.
And the Partridge Family. It was like,
the Partridge Family. I thought I was born to be a tambourine girl. I thought that was my calling. Do you think there's anybody that she would have been really starstruck to me? I always wonder about that, because sometimes people get used to being around public figures. But if I met Cher, I can barely say it.
I got a call from Nick oh my God, I think I was still in high school. It was early in the morning, like 2:00, whatever. They probably had all gone out. And she goes, Tanya, she goes, you have no idea who's downstairs.
Today, I had the opportunity and honestly the pleasure of interviewing Nicole Brown Simpson's 3 sisters. Lifetime is coming out with a documentary about Nicole Brown Simpson. June 1st and 2nd at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard. But this documentary works to humanize Nicole. I'm going to play the interview in just a second, and they share a lot of beautiful memories that they have with Nicole, but most of all, how we as a community can start to support victims around us. It is our responsibility to believe victims the first time. Rest in peace, Nicole Brown Simpson.
Do you think there's anybody that she would have been really starstruck to me? I always wonder about that because sometimes people get used to being around public figures, but if I met Cher, I can barely say it. I would lose it. You know what I mean?
I got a call from Nick from, oh my God, I think I was still in high school, and it was early in the morning, like 2 o'clock, whatever. They probably had all gone out, and she goes, Tanya, she goes, you have no idea who's downstairs. And I'm like, who?
Downstairs.
She's like, you never believe who's downstairs. And I'm like, who? And she goes, I'll just give you a keyword, purple. And I'm like, Prince? She goes, Prince is downstairs. I think she saw, yeah, it was Tom Cruise. There was the farmer's market, or the one there on 26th Street and San Vicente in LA. I think it was called the farmer's market. I can't remember, but the chicken baskets.
Brentwood Market.
Chicken baskets and da-da-da. And she sees Tom Cruise and she falls over a bench and everything went everywhere.
I recently was talking to someone who is a survivor of domestic violence. And while she was speaking to me, I realized there's all this like pressure on a person to come forward, like whenever somebody's going through something, the things that they should do, the things that they should do. Do you have any advice out there because it's about community? Do you have any advice out there for people who fear that someone in their circle, their village, is suffering through something like that?
You know what? Somebody asked me that once, and I was at Brooklyn College actually, and a young man, he was sitting there and he says, I know my sister is being abused, but
Okay.
what do I do? And I told him, I said, learn everything you can about the cycle of domestic violence, learn everything you can, educate yourself, and then sit your sister down and just say, listen, this is what I know. And you're going to get, no, 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 that's not happening to me. But what you've done is you've opened up that door for communication. And I think the awareness and the communication and being there, being supportive, don't alienate that person just because she goes back to the abusive partner, because statistics show that they go back 7 to 10 times. So be supportive, be there for them, but learn everything you can before you even start talking to them about it, because then you're talking about facts, you're talking about knowledge, you know something. And then, it'll get into their head. They're going to deny it, but at least you've opened up that door. So I think that's really important.
And I think also for like the corporate world, because I remember I was working for a healthcare company in Irvine, California in 2016. And I saw signs, and all you needed to do, I did a little Post-it note, anonymous, and I just said 800-799 safe, and I left it on our cubicle. I mean, and you don't need to put your name on it or anything, just like, hey, just that number alone can save lives. So if you're a corporate employee and you're recognizing things like diminishing character, and they're showing up late, or they're showing up with bruises, they used to be an exemplary employee, but now they're not showing up in any way of their life. They used to be social and not so much anymore. Like, these are signs to be paid attention to. And I'm a huge mental health advocate, and it goes along, like, we need to start questioning people, like, are you okay? If you're not, like, we're here to
Open up
help.
that conversation. Yeah. Just open up the conversation, be supportive. And once you've done that, I mean, it
opens up
they
doors.
will, yeah, and they'll come forward when they're ready. Somebody will come forward and they'll say, you've always been there for me. You're here to help me. And they appreciate that, as long as you don't judge.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Just no judgment. If you start judging them, then you're going to isolate them and they're just going to be
lose
gone.
it. What about you, Dominique? What do you think?
Uh,
You're so mysterious. I love you.
the two of them, they really have advocated for domestic violence. I went a different route in my grief, but what I do believe is that the 30-year mark of this is a very big deal and a very good opportunity to educate the younger people that are going through it. Half the time, nobody knows who Nicole was, as if not a victim, or they just say the O.J. Simpson trial. I
Mhm.
think that it's an opportunity to bring more awareness to it. I think the problem is huge still. I think that there is a lot of uh, there's a lot of reason for the education and a lot of awareness that needs to be made for the younger generations. It's been 30 years, and maybe there were a lot of changes after Nicole was killed, but I think that everything needs to be refreshed. And I think in humanizing Nicole and making it more of Nicole as a person and relatable and a mother and an average person, that maybe people will feel more familiarity and feel a little bit safer in coming out and sharing with either those they love or professionally.
I'm gonna learn some gossipy German phrases this afternoon.
Or some bad words.
I didn't want to say that. Yes. Those were all I had another question about, this was my last one, but I think you answered it, about how do you want the world to remember Nicole Brown Simpson?
What we do now is we just continue educating and keeping Nicole's memory alive and making sure that Nicole, something like what happened to Nicole doesn't happen to another human being.
Yeah. How I want people to remember Nicole is not the person sitting or laying over, under a bloodied sheet at a bottom of the stair. It's like, that's not her.
And I think we accomplished that, don't you? I think in the
absolutely.
documentary, I think we accomplished that.
Seeing her walk, seeing her talk. I mean, even in the Diane Sawyer, I don't know if this is in the documentary, because I can't remember, because I was just like immersed in the documentary and information. But many were with Aaron and Nicole with Justin, or sitting, I can't remember. And you guys were just like playing in the water together, so it's like, it's precious moments like that. My dad, our dad, sorry, had all these Super 8s.
Oh yeah.
Way back when. So with the they digitized, is that the right
You got
word?
it. Yes.
Digital.
And you know what? It's your remix, so who cares?
Right, that's it.
Yeah.
And here it was like, oh my God, like all these like cute moments of my mom being in a bathing suit and, in the backyard playing in the little like the little pool, makeshift pool that you guys had. And Nicole's like running around little naked, and I mean, it's just like, it's really cute to see all.
Oh, the ones in Germany. You're talking
the ones in
about.
Germany.
Yeah.
Yes.
The
Not,
ones in
not
Great
as a
Britain.
grown up. Not as a grown up.
Yeah. We used to do movie night. Our dad would take those Super 8s, and we would do movie night where the whole family would get together and make popcorn, and he'd put up his own little pop-up screen, and we had an old-fashioned projector.
That time, I always tell people, the world was so small in that time of our lives in the best way. Like, I didn't know what it was like to be like proud of myself. I didn't know what it was, because it was just, I was just someone's kid, and like, as time goes on, those are like the best, those are the true people, like I look at my sister or my brother, or like my cousins even. And when they're talking to me, I'm not talking to like 30-year-old Laura. I'm talking to like, I'm 7, you know what I mean? She's, and she has bangs, and she's way cuter than me, and her eyelashes are so longer than mine. It drives me nuts.
And the docuseries is going to air June 1st and June 2nd at 8 p.m. on Lifetime.
Are you guys going to be up for that?
Yeah.
My
We're not
sister's
that old.
7.